Well, howdy, partners. This month, we take a look at the top 3 films of the American Film Institute's all-time top 10 Westerns. At number 3, produced and directed by George Stevens from 1953, it's Shane, starring Alan Ladd in the title role. Shane is the story of a laconic drifter who helps a group of Wyoming Territory homesteaders who are being terrorized by a ruthless cattle baron. And while Shane, the character, is portrayed as a deadly gunslinger, Ladd, the actor, thoroughly disliked firearms and was most uncomfortable in handling them. To wit, if you slow down the film's speed, you will see that in most instances, Alan Ladd's eyes are closed while he's firing. A similar problem existed with the film's bad guy, Jack Wilson, played in all his snarling glory by Jack Palance. Palance was uncomfortable around, of all things, horses. When director Stevens finally got a good take of Palance dismounting the horse after dozens of failed attempts, he reused the same piece of footage throughout the film whenever Palance needed to get off a horse, and ran the same shot in reverse whenever Palance needed to get on the horse. Ah, Hollywood. Runner-up for our top 3, from 1952, it's High Noon, starring Gary Cooper in a Best Actor Oscar-winning performance. Cooper plays small-town Marshal Will Kane, who, on the day of his retirement, learns that the train coming in at high noon carries a recently released desperado who has vowed to gun down Will Kane for sending him to prison so many years ago. In an effort to gather support for the showdown, Cooper tries to deputize various townfolk who think him foolish for making a stand. Even his new bride, played by the beautiful Grace Kelly, vows to leave him if he goes out to meet his foe. No spoilers here, folks. You'll just have to rent this film in order to see how it ends. Shot in stark black and white, the film is presented in real time as we see multiple clocks throughout the film ticking down the minutes to high noon. The American Film Institute placed High Noon at number 27 in its 100 Years, 100 Best Movies list, while the National Film Registry of the Library of Congress included High Noon as one of 2 Westerns in the inaugural Class of 25 in 1989. Our number 1 AFI Western, and some say one of the finest motion pictures ever made. From 1956, it's John Ford's masterpiece, The Searchers, starring John Wayne as Ethan Edwards, the stoic prodigal who returns to his brother's West Texas homestead 8 years after the end of his service in the Confederate Army. Shortly after Edwards' return, his brother's family is wiped out in a murderous Comanche raid, all except his niece Debbie, portrayed by Natalie Wood, who is kidnapped by the Comanche. With a Captain Ahab level of determination, Edwards begins an obsessive search for his niece. The story is loosely based on the life of Cynthia Ann Parker, a 9-year-old kidnapped by the Comanche in 1836, who spent 24 years in captivity and ultimately became the mother of the great Comanche chief, Quanah Parker. Her uncle, Texas Ranger James Parker, searched for over 2 decades to find her, only to be rejected by Cynthia Ann when she was finally located. The second Western to be included in the National Film Registry's Class of 25 in 1989, The Searchers, remains to this day one of the most iconic films in Hollywood history. Enjoy these and many other great motion pictures available at your Mount Juliet Public Library.